There's a moment when your soul grows still right in the middle of chaos. The room is full of voices, yet not one of them seems to be speaking to you. You smile, you nod, you try to blend in, but somewhere deep inside, you've already realized the truth. You were never meant to follow the rhythm of that crowd. Capricorn, this isn't an error in your path. It's a divine signal that something greater is calling your name. For years, you've carried unnamed burdens. You've been the strong one, the dependable one, the one who always shows up no matter the weight on your shoulders. But lately, even the sound of your own name feels strange when it comes from their lips. The version of you they hold on to is outdated, smaller, and incomplete. No matter how you explain, they still can't see who you've become. This isn't rejection, it's elevation. God isn't removing you because you failed. He's removing you because it's time to reveal the truest version of you. He's moving you beyond their reach, not to punish, but to protect, to position, and to prepare you for what's next. Capricorn, you are standing on sacred ground right now. The detachment you feel isn't a flaw. It's divine wisdom awakening in your soul. And before we go deeper, I want you to anchor your spirit in this moment by writing in the comments, "God, lead me higher." Because as we continue, you're going to see how every unanswered question, every strange shift in your spirit has been leading you here. This isn't just another message. This is your release, your reminder, and your quiet confirmation that heaven has been speaking all along. There's a unique kind of ache many Capricorns carry, a silent pain that settles in when you're surrounded by people who are supposed to feel like home, yet somehow they don't. From early on, you might have noticed it, not in loud conflicts or dramatic events, but in subtle ways, in the way your thoughts wandered where theirs didn't, in the way your heart felt things others brushed aside, in the way your dreams stretched far beyond the invisible walls they built. You'd watch siblings laugh in sync, share a rhythm, while you stood a step apart, wondering why your soul moved to a different beat. Quietly, you'd ask yourself, why do I feel like an outsider in my own family? Why do I carry thoughts I can't explain, dreams I can't share?
It's not because something is wrong with you. It's because something within you was set apart from the very beginning. You were born in familiar soil, but the roots of your spirit were always meant to break through the surface. You were never intended to be buried under the expectations of those who couldn't recognize the treasure God placed inside you. The discomfort you felt, that tension in rooms where no one fully understands you, is not weakness. It's the signal that your calling was never going to fit into the walls you were raised within. Spiritual separation rarely begins with dramatic exits. It starts quietly, in still moments, when you realize you're living among those who see only a fraction of you. Deep down, you know that staying too long in that space would require you to shrink just to survive. God didn't rush you out. Instead, He let you feel the weight of difference. He let you hear the labels: too serious, too cold, too intense, too much. But what they called too much was your gift waking up. What they dismissed as too ambitious was your divine assignment pressing against the limits of a small environment. You weren't created to copy their ways. You were created to transform what had been stuck for generations. Capricorn, every time you felt out of place, heaven was placing you on a different path. You are not here to blend in. You are here to rise from the very things that tried to bury you. You are called, not confined. And soon, you'll see that what once felt like rejection was in truth a sacred redirection. When God begins to remove you from a place, He rarely does it with noise. More often, He uses silence, a sacred hush that slowly surrounds your life. You notice it when the phone rings and you hesitate to answer, not out of anger, but because something in the conversation feels heavy, disconnected. The laughter you once shared now feels forced. You sit in a familiar room where memories were made, but it feels more like a museum, a collection of frozen moments that no longer match who you are.
This isn't you becoming cold. This is your spirit moving forward while the space around you stays still. God is carving out space for your growth, not to isolate you, but to lift you. You're not leaving with bitterness, you're leaving with clarity. And that clarity is louder than any argument. The distance is not proof of failure. It's proof that your growth has shifted your frequency, and not everyone is meant to match it. This sacred silence is not a punishment, it's a shield. God is protecting your light from places that kept trying to dim it. You don't need to explain why you've gone quiet. You don't need to justify the boundaries you've drawn. This is a divine pause, a stillness where heaven says, "Be still. I'm doing something new in you." Perhaps the reason you no longer feel at home isn't because you've lost love for them, but because you've outgrown the house itself. God isn't turning you against them, He's turning you toward your destiny. The strength, vision, and depth He's building in you can't grow in soil where you were constantly questioned. So if your heart no longer rests in the places it used to, trust that the silence is holy. It's making room for your voice to rise without the weight of old expectations, without the pressure to be the person they remember, and closer to the one you were always meant to become. Capricorn, you weren't born to follow what's always been done. You came here to break what should never have continued. There are patterns in your family that move like shadows through generations, silent, heavy cycles wrapped in fear, control, shame, guilt. They sweep pain under the rug and call it peace. They keep their distance emotionally and call it strength. But somewhere deep inside, you've always known it wasn't right. You looked around and thought, why is no one speaking about this? Why are we repeating the same wounds and calling it love?
You didn't come into this family to pretend. You came to interrupt. You came to be the one who stands in the doorway and says, "This ends with me." Your strength isn't just personality, it's purpose. Your discipline isn't just habit, it's a sacred weapon. Your refusal to stay silent when something feels wrong isn't rebellion, it's your spirit rising to break the chain. God made you strong because the pattern was stubborn. He gave you clarity because the confusion ran deep. He gave you endurance because this mission is not easy. Sometimes, breaking a cycle means walking away from people who still find comfort inside it. Not because you hate them, but because you refuse to keep living in a lie. When God chooses a generational breaker, He doesn't hand them an easy road. He gives them vision. And vision will always make you feel different long before it makes you feel understood. They may call you cold. They may call you difficult. They may say you're the one who questions too much. But God calls you chosen, the one strong enough to carry the shift. Yes, it's lonely. Yes, it's heavy. But heaven sees the silent battles you fight. God sees the nights you've cried because the people you love couldn't see your heart. He knows how hard it is to walk away from what's familiar just to walk toward what's right. And He wants you to know you are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not unworthy. You are the one breaking the cord between what was and what must never be again. And because of your courage, a new future is being born, one where peace is real, love is whole, and old cycles are shattered forever. There will be moments, Capricorn, when God stops speaking in gentle hints and starts sending unmistakable signs. The burning bridge moments. These aren't small disagreements or mild tensions. They are the sharp shifts, the betrayals that cut deep, the arguments that change the air in the room forever, the doors that close with no key to open them again.
These moments don't come to harm you. They come to free you. Because without that fire, you would have stayed. You would have kept explaining yourself to people who never truly listened. You would have kept fixing what was never yours to repair. You would have stayed silent to keep peace while your spirit slowly faded. Your loyalty is fierce, Capricorn. You hold on even when it hurts. You carry pain to protect others from it. You try to hold the family together even when you're falling apart inside. But God sees it all. He sees the depth of your love. He sees the tears you hide, the words you swallow, the peace you sacrifice. And now he's saying, enough. When the bridge starts to burn, let it burn. Don't run back to save what God is removing. Don't try to rebuild what heaven has decided to tear down. Let the smoke rise. Let the flames finish their work. Because on the other side is freedom. Freedom from guilt, fear, and silence. This isn't about hate. It isn't about revenge. It's about truth. God is not tearing apart your world to leave you in ruins. He's clearing away what was false so you can finally build a life on what is real. Your peace matters. Your purpose matters. Your voice matters. So don't fear walking away from the smoke. Don't be afraid to leave what is burning behind. When the ashes settle, you'll see that what collapsed was never meant to stand. God isn't destroying you. He's destroying the walls that kept you from becoming who you were born to be. And from those ashes, a new beginning will rise. One built on truth. One built for you. Capricorn, if you're feeling the weight of these words, pause for a moment and breathe. Let this sink in. And if your spirit agrees, show your support. Like this video so this message reaches others who need it. Because we're only halfway through, and what comes next will help you understand why the silence you're feeling right now is the most sacred season of your life.
There is a stage in your journey, Capricorn, that I call the sacred space of separation. It doesn't begin with celebration. It begins with silence. You wake up one day and realize the voices that once shaped your choices have grown faint. The pressure to explain yourself isn't as strong as it used to be. The opinions that once weighed you down seem to drift into the background. But along with that freedom comes something unexpected, the loss of belonging. Because even if the environment was painful, it was familiar. Now you find yourself in a place that no longer carries their fingerprints. It's just you and God. And at first, this space feels unsettling. The quiet can feel too loud. You may ask, did I make the right decision? Why does doing the right thing feel so hard? But this is the very place where your true identity begins to surface. Not the version of you they defined, not the mask you wore to keep the peace. The real you, the one heaven had in mind before the world tried to mold you. This separation is not a punishment, it's a divine reset. Here, you hear God's voice without static. You see yourself through His eyes, not through their expectations. You begin to notice His guidance in the smallest moments, dreams that feel alive, perfectly timed conversations with strangers, signs so aligned you can't write them off as coincidence. In this silence, you will uncover the gifts that were buried because no one understood them. You'll rediscover ideas dismissed as too bold, feelings ignored because they didn't fit the family's comfort zone. This is not the end of your story, it's the unveiling of it. What once felt like rejection will begin to feel like protection, like preparation. God didn't pull you out to punish you, He pulled you out to renew you. You had to step away to see clearly. You had to lose their version of you to meet the version God always knew you could become. And in this quiet place, you are not lost. You are being led. Don't rush to fill the silence. Let it form you. Because when this season ends, you'll rise with a voice that does not shake, a heart that doesn't bend, and a vision so clear no one else's opinion can cloud it.
You are not alone in this sacred space. You are held, you are watched over, and you are being made new. Then comes something even more profound, the revelation of true family. When God removes people from your life, He doesn't leave you empty. He replaces what was taken with something aligned, something higher. You may be letting go of blood ties, but you are stepping into divine connections. This is the family of your soul, people who don't need the long backstory to understand your heart. They feel you. They see you fully and without judgment. They won't try to silence your dreams. They'll nurture them. They won't make you feel guilty for growing. They'll bless your transformation. They'll sit with you in your storms and stay silent when silence is sacred. No, they may not share your DNA, but they will share your direction. They will speak to your spirit instead of your history. This is what God meant when He promised to place the lonely in families. He wasn't only speaking of bloodlines, He was speaking of spirit lines. Capricorn, the family you were born into shaped the outside of you. The family God is bringing into your life will shape the inside, the part of you that matters most. Don't cling to what you've outgrown. Don't bind yourself with guilt because of shared history. Don't let fear close your heart to what's next. The loneliness you feel now is just the clearing. It's the divine rearranging of your space so the right people can finally walk in. These soul-aligned connections will reflect parts of you you thought were gone. They will speak life into the emptiest corners of your heart. And when they arrive, you will understand why God had to remove the ones who could not walk with you into this next chapter. Capricorn, this is not the end of your family story. It's the beginning of a better one, a chosen one, a healed one. Capricorn, when God calls you to higher ground, there will come a day, perhaps sooner than you think, when you'll sit in stillness and everything that once broke your heart will suddenly make sense. You'll look back at the people you cried over, the rooms that made you feel small, the silences that cut deeper than words, and you'll realize it was never punishment. It was protection.
You'll see how much chaos you were spared. The tension, the unspoken wounds, the constant undercurrent of drama. You'll see how your dreams would have been dismissed, how your purpose would have been overlooked, how your identity would have been dimmed just to keep others comfortable. And in that moment of clarity, you won't want to go back. You won't hold anger in your heart. You'll feel peace, deep, quiet peace, because you'll understand that everything happened exactly as it needed to. You were never made to blend in. You were made to rise, to lead, to climb to heights others didn't believe were possible. You were made for the mountain, a place few reach because it demands solitude, focus, and seasons of silence that forge an unshakable spirit. Yes, the path can feel lonely. It requires you to walk without applause. It asks you to trust God's voice even when no one else understands why you're leaving what's familiar. But the mountain is your calling. It's where your wisdom sharpens, where your voice strengthens, where your gift is no longer hidden. You had to be removed because what you carry is too sacred for those who can't hold its weight. And not everyone is meant to see the summit with you, but God does. He knows what He placed inside you, and He knows it was built for more than average, more than ordinary. So when you feel the ache to return to what you've left behind, remind yourself comfort was never your calling. You were made for elevation, and every step you take toward that higher ground, even if it's taken alone, is proof you're walking in obedience. God doesn't call the comfortable, He calls the capable. And Capricorn, that is exactly who you are. There's something you must know deep in your soul. You don't owe guilt to anyone for the journey God has chosen for you.
You don't have to keep explaining yourself to people who were never meant to understand your wings. You don't have to shrink to fit into spaces that were never built for your spirit.
It's okay to walk away, not with anger, not with bitterness, but with peace. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to love from a distance, allowing others to remain where they are while you continue where God is leading you. This isn't about cutting people off. It's about cutting yourself free. Free from expectations that suffocate your truth. Free from the burden of fixing what isn't yours to repair. Free to become who you are without apology. Love can still exist in silence. Growth can still happen without an audience. And what's ahead for you, Capricorn, isn't just better, it's divine. God is lifting you, shielding you, and preparing a chapter your past could never have contained. So walk away, not to escape, but to expand. And if this message has touched your spirit, let it be more than just words. Write it once more in the comments. God, lead me higher. Let it be your prayer, your release, your declaration that you're done apologizing for growth. This isn't the end of love in your life. It's the beginning of learning what real love truly feels like, starting with the love God has always had for you. So keep walking, Capricorn. Keep your head high, your heart soft, and your soul open to the new. If this message spoke to you, subscribe so you don't risk what's coming next. And before you go, remember to like this video, not just for the algorithm, but as your own quiet confirmation that you are stepping into the life you were always meant to live. Your next chapter isn't just on its way, it has already begun.